wake up, it's time to be free. Wake up, was blind, now I see. Wake up, it's time to be me. Wake up, my mind is the key.
Wake up, it's time to be me. Wake up, my mind is the key.
Okay, welcome to another episode of the Daily Jules, where I drop nuggets of wisdom to help you increase your degrees of freedom. The only degree that matters to me is your degree of freedom, not your college degree, not how much money you make. It doesn't really matter how much money you make. What matters is how you make money. And so today we have an amazing question around just how to get started in real estate and rental properties. And I currently have 3 rental properties. I'm working on a 4th right now. And want to share just my journey and my process in order to get where I am. So, how to buy rental properties. Okay. So, I'll share with you. How I think about it. I'll be honest with you. I live because I read Rich Dad Poor Dad. Actually, is it here? No, I read Rich Dad Poor Dad in college, and that really changed my life. And once I realized that a house was not an asset, that a single family home was not an asset. An asset is something that an asset is something that puts money in your pocket. Okay, so a single family home can never be an asset unless it appreciates, and you don't control appreciation. If you actually invest in the kitchen and things of that nature, but you're still putting money out to get it to appreciate, right? So from that moment on, I knew that my first home was not going to be a single family home. And I've actually seen a lot of single family homes trap many of my friends. If I was an employer, if I was a cruel corporate American employer, in order to retain people as long as possible, I would actually help them get I would have a program at my company that would help them get a mortgage just a little bit more than they could afford. Because then once I do that, they're locked in for 30 years and they're not leaving me. That would increase my retention through the roof, right? So I've seen more people get trapped with a 30-year mortgage on a single-family home than I've seen get freed by it. So a house is actually a savings account at best. It is not an asset because, in all honesty, with property taxes and insurance, even after you paid it off in full, it's still taking money out of your pocket. With property taxes and insurance and other fixes, even after you paid it off in full, it is still taking money out of your pocket. So that does not fit with the definition of an asset. But so I always knew that my first home would be a multifamily, and I knew I'd have to save more than a single family in order to get that. And so my process was, look, I'm here in New York, and somebody owns this building, and right now I'm paying rent. Jada, she was born into this home, so my wife and I are paying rent. But we knew that in order to create savings, right, if we were going to pay somebody else's rent, we couldn't rent in the nicest neighborhoods because we needed to have breathing room so that we could save for our down payment. Down pay, right? If we were renting at our max budget, then we'd have no room for saving, and you need a down payment. Now, there are some amazing programs out there like NACA that allow you to get a low interest rate with no down payment and things of that nature. They can take quite some time for you to get through their process, but it's really powerful because I think this is the biggest obstacle. People could pay a mortgage because they've been paying rent consistently, but the biggest thing that stops people from owning is actually, I think, the down payment. Now, there is FHA, FHA loans, first-time homeowner loans, and usually those are 3.5% down. So let's say you want a $500,000 house, then you would have to put about $20,000 down on a $500,000 house. The only problem with FHA, while this is good, is that they come with, so this is good. The only problem is that it comes with PMI, private mortgage insurance, until I think it's 5 years. Forgive me if I'm wrong. Please correct me in the comments. 5 years, or until you are at, or until 20% equity. Okay, meaning that you've paid 20% of the principal. Okay, that you own 20% of it. So FHA is cool, except 1 plus, 1 minus, and this is a trade-off because the PMI is really there to protect the banks, and it could be like $300, $400 a month on top of your principal, property tax and insurance, right? And that's not going to principal. So that's pretty tough. So wherever you're renting, right? If you're just starting off rent, so let's call this rent to rental, to residence. So let's say you ultimately don't want to be living in apartment building for your entire life. The process is you're probably renting. Most of us start off renting, then we want to have a rental. So you can't rent at your max, right? You have to create room for savings. So my wife and I, we weren't in the best neighborhoods. We were 2 express stops past some of our friends, right? In order to have cheaper rent so that we could actually have some money for down payment. Now, once you do that, you can, once you have the money for the down payment, you can enter the market, and now you can own the building. You move here, right? And now you have other people paying you so that you can pay. The other people basically paying your mortgage, so you can pay the bank, right? Other people are paying now. So essentially, in a 3-family home, which is what our first home was, we went from paying rent and using some of that savings to now basically being rent-free. Rent-free. We still had to pay a mortgage, but that mortgage was getting paid by other people, right? We didn't have to have any money coming out of pocket. So what does that do? That allows you to increase your savings, right? And so now that you have this here, you can actually start thinking about that detached single-family home that you want with the white picket fence, if that's your American dream, because now not having to pay rent over a period of time increases your savings and allows you to make a down payment on here, which is still not an asset. It's still not an asset, but then you can move here, another tenant, move here, and this other tenant that moves in here is essentially paying your mortgage. They're sending money to you, but they're essentially paying your mortgage on this home, right? So I own 3 homes today, and essentially I have never made a mortgage payment. I've never made a mortgage payment because other people have been paying the mortgage. I own 3 homes and have never made a mortgage payment. Now, I did have to make some of these down payments, right? Because of the savings here, the savings from not paying rent here, and the savings from we're not here yet. Instead of doing this, I actually bought 2 more duplexes, right? And now that even positions us better for this. So imagine having 3 mortgages, 1, 2, 3, and let's just say those mortgages are $8,000 negative, but the rents from those mortgages are plus $14,000. So now you're making $6,000 of passively, semi-passively, because there's things to do, mowing the lawns or hiring contractors and things of that nature. You're making $6,000 essentially passively because you decided not to buy a single-family home first, which is what the American dream tells you to do. A lot of people buy the single-family home first, and then they have to save up to try to get this. But this property, the single-family home is probably $500,000. This one the 3-family may be $800,000. So it takes longer to save up to get this. So why not just do that first, right? Because that actually allows you to get this, this, and this, and live rent-free, essentially never having to make a mortgage payment. This is how I go from rent to having rental properties to the ultimate residence. My wife and I have not stepped into the ultimate residence that we want. We're going to get deeper into these mortgages and get those cash flowing right, and maybe even get another duplex before we step into our quote unquote single family home. I'm happy living in duplexes, but she wants what she wants, and so I am making investments in order to move us towards that. But I did not fall into the trap of buying a single family home first. If you're a single family home appreciated, I'm so happy for you. I do not take appreciation into account when I'm making real estate investments, unless I'm going to be doing something strategic like making $40,000 investment when I know that, because I know that that's actually going to cause the home to appreciate another $100,000 based on comparables. That's the only time I would account for appreciation in my real estate deals. I'm focused on cash flow and making sure that the rents are more than the collective mortgages and fixes, etc. Okay, so that's how I think about how to buy rental properties. This is my actual approach, right? I had these. We were renting, bought a 3-family, 2 duplexes. And we're not here yet. We're getting deeper into these mortgages right now. Try to pay some of those down because the interest, most of your payments straight out the gates are almost all interest. So we're trying to get deeper into those mortgages before we even consider this. So this is how I think about real estate. This is Jullien Gordon with another Daily Jewel, and I hope that this has blessed you and helped you increase your degrees of freedom. All right? Peace.
I hope these mindsets, metaphors, and methodologies blessed you. If you desire more freedom, go to getfreenow.com to subscribe to the show on iTunes, YouTube, or Facebook, and get 4 of my best courses in the Freedom School for 100% free.